I play games for 60 minutes and give my impressions in only 60 seconds. Usually, I only post about one game at a time, but due to recent events, and the fact that I have some extra Quarantime to kill, I thought it would be a good time to shake things up a bit. I've built a collection of games themed around our current predicament, and I'd like to share the first part now. These aren't all the greatest games, but they're thematically linked, and that's the point. I have given my impressions of a few of these before, so don't be surprised if you see a couple of oldies in here. And with that said, let's go. Our story begins with a tale of a plague. After 1 hour, was I feverish for more, or will that be enough for me? A Plague Tale: Innocence is a stealth-based narrative game following a young girl and her even younger brother as they attempt to survive Inquisition soldiers and the bubonic plague in 14th century France. The performances are great and the visuals are superb, making it a really captivating experience. And once I was far enough in that swarms of infected rats appeared, it became truly unsettling. Besides the visuals of the surge of rats, I really enjoyed the fact that they only congregate in the shadows, since it makes for some great opportunities for puzzles. That being said, this game features some of my most disliked game mechanics, like white ledges where all action is funneled to a standstill, alongside contrived stealth sections where guards just conveniently walk back and forth as they wait for you to throw a pebble. Bummer. Will I keep going? I don't think so. It's definitely a well-made game, but stealth gameplay just isn't for me. It's really disappointing too, since the story does seem really interesting. This plague is on a mission to destroy all humans. After an hour, did it abduct my heart and mind? Or am I done playing this one? Destroy All Humans is a game all about, you guessed it, destruction. You play as an alien with the goal of infiltrating, abducting, and killing as many humans as possible. Everything in this game is framed as if it's a B-movie, which I really got a kick out of. The main character is even played with sort of a Jack Nicholson impression.
This planet is easy pickings.
Which I can only interpret as an homage to his multiple roles in Mars Attacks. I was impressed with the gameplay variety when in direct control of the alien. He can read minds, shoot lasers, fly with his jetpack, and even lift objects off the ground. But when flying around in his spaceship, it's all about leveling towns, and that's why I really enjoyed my time the most, even if it was pretty simple. Will I keep playing? Not in 2020. The gameplay is fun, but there's a lot of long downtime in between the action that really kills the flow and the pacing. I'm hopeful that a remake could smooth out those edges. As the virus attempts to destroy all humans, it has now been declared a pandemic. Pandemic is a turn-based co-op card game where you team up with between 1 and 4 other players to stop the spread of several deadly viruses. The goal of the game is to research the cure for each of the 4 viruses by exchanging 5 cards of the same color at designated locations. Gameplay is kept fresh by having each game start on a randomly generated map, as well as having 7 different character classes, each with their own unique modifications to the rules. Pandemic was originally released as a physical board game back in 2008, and the transition to a digital game has kept the fun intact, though I did run into a number of technical glitches that definitely caused confusion and frustration. Additionally, though there are hints that frequently pop up, the game doesn't do a great job of teaching the fundamentals to beginners, unfortunately. The question is though, was this game ill enough to make me want to continue with it now that my hour is up? Yeah! While the game has a number of irritating glitches, the core gameplay is strong enough to be able to look past them and get to the fun. If you ask some people, this pandemic is a clear omen of doom. Is there any way in hell that I'd play for more than 1 hour? Doom Eternal is an extremely fast-paced first-person shooter with a huge emphasis on forward momentum. Visuals are drop-dead gorgeous, and movement is extremely fluid. That is, until it comes time to do a glory kill. When playing on a controller, they can be extremely disorienting. Auto-aim is there to help, but there were times when I was pulled completely around from where I was originally facing as it tried to assist me. The auto-targeting isn't the only thing that killed the flow though. I was bombarded with tutorial pop-ups all the time. It really prevented me from getting in a rhythm. Additionally, mission objectives were also unclear. Markers suggested that I just needed to get to the goal, but in reality, I had to hunt and kill every enemy before it would open. Ugh. Will I keep playing? No way. I don't want to use the word hate, but it wasn't far off. I went in expecting a fluid ballet of combat, and what I got was a confusing, hitching, and irritating experience. With all of this doom and gloom talk, it's nowhere more apparent than in the supermarkets. After an hour of wandering the aisles, do I want to keep shopping? Supermarket Shriek is a very bizarre game. The main objective is to navigate through maze-like grocery stores by one of the strangest control methods ever created. Pull the left trigger, and the man will yell, spinning the shopping cart counterclockwise. Pull the right trigger, and the goat will yell, spinning the shopping cart clockwise. By using both at the same time, you can send your cart forward in a straight line. The controls may be easy to learn, but to get really good with them will clearly take some time. You earn stars by avoiding obstacles and completing some simple objectives. For example, levels may ask you to knock over as many displays as you can, while others give you a shopping list to complete. So, am I gonna keep screaming? Nah, it was a fun novelty when I first started playing, but after an hour of being literally yelled at by the game, I've hit a limit. Additionally, the unique controls started to give my hands cramps, so I'll just appreciate the creativity in this one and move on. There's no need to go berserk in the market, but regrettably, some people have decided to hoard. Was 1 hour heaps of fun, or do I have some reservations about playing more? Hoard is a twin-stick shooter presented as a tabletop game with dragons. There are a variety of different modes, and they all feature the same general gameplay of sieging a town, looting their gold, and offloading it into your base. Map variety helps keep things interesting, as does the fact that each round all stats are reset, and you must reselect what perks you want to work towards. There's one quirk though that holds back all of these modes. It's the fact that you have to sit stationary on your pile of gold to offload your riches. Hoard mode, however, dispels of all of that and forgoes the idea of collecting gold, instead becoming a game of survival. I had a lot more fun in this mode, and constantly had the urge to try again for a better score. Will I keep playing? Yeah, I can totally see myself dropping in every now and again to try to improve my survival time. I probably won't do it too much, but it was definitely better than I expected. Thanks to all the hoarders, trying to find household staples like toilet paper has been an absolute cluster. Is there any trucking way I'd stick with this one? Cluster Truck is a video game equivalent of The Floor is Lava. It's a high-speed first-person platformer with one simple goal: get to the end without touching the ground. Every platform in each level has a predetermined starting position, but because each truck is controlled by its own AI, every new attempt has a different layout than the one before. This randomness constantly kept me on my toes, and certainly added to my enjoyment. It was fun to learn the basic layout of a level, while at the same time, constantly adapting to the ever-changing ground beneath me. The controls could use some improvement though. To sprint, you have to hold one of the triggers, a task that causes hand cramps for extended playtimes. Mapping jump to a trigger button also would have been better, so that mid-air adjustments could have been made easier. Will I keep playing? Yeah. The quick pace of the levels gives a great feeling of progression, and the randomness of each gives a great sense of accomplishment when you do end up completing it. Where are all the trucks going? I'm not sure, but hopefully, most of them have gone home. Gone Home is a first-person exploration game, and is one of the first games to have had the term walking simulator applied to it. There are no enemies to fight, platforms to jump between, or anything like that. You're placed in a house, and it's up to you to investigate and find out where everybody went, and why nobody is home. Even with no enemies to encounter, the game is still surprisingly tense. If you've ever turned the lights off in an empty home, and had the feeling that somebody else is in the room with you, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. The game somehow does an excellent job of capturing that feeling. Reading through journals and discovering environmental clues is the name of the game here, and while I usually need a bit more meat on the bones in terms of actual gameplay, the presentation here had me engrossed more than I had anticipated. Will I keep playing? Yeah, in fact I finished it after only another 20 minutes or so of playing, so it's certainly not a long game, but I enjoyed the journey anyway. I'm glad to see that for the most part, everybody has gone home. Now, the important part is that everybody stays inside. Inside is a puzzle platformer with an amazing presentation. The tone set with muted colors perfectly highlights the morbid nature of the world. The way that audio is used minimally significantly adds to the overall eeriness too. But I was most impressed with how well this game forecasts what the objective and obstacles are in any situation. There's always a clear idea of what the goal is at any given time, beyond just running to the right. Take for example when the searchlight begins looking for you. For reasons unknown, it's clear that I didn't want to be spotted, so I ducked back into cover, right as the van passed by. It was a tense moment and a perfectly timed scripted event that enhanced my playtime. I don't want to spoil any more of these moments, but just know that it's impressive how well these challenges can be presented, as well as just how many there are. Will I keep playing? 100% yes. It's clear that it's not a long game, but it's so well crafted that I'll be sure to savor all of it. Staying inside can be tough, especially for Thomas. He was alone. Will I keep him company for more than an hour? Thomas Was Alone first appears to be a run-of-the-mill platformer. Differently shaped rectangles all have unique attributes that modify the standard run and jump abilities. Where the game shines, though, is through its near-constant narration. The omnipresent voice plays a sort of internal monologue for all the characters, as each one begins to question what is happening. The amount of personality able to be conveyed is surprising, and merits a study just on its own. A personal highlight was when one of the characters was attempting to psych herself up that another block, Christopher, was her true arch-nemesis. The delivery of
Diabolical Chris, the fiendish Christopher,
still cracks me up. Will I keep playing? Unlikely. 1 hour was totally the right amount for me to spend with this one. The humor and charm go a long way, but the general gameplay is pretty average, and doesn't do anything that hasn't already been done elsewhere better. Until next time.